Welcome back to Trackside. We hope you're enjoying all the action. A reminder too, you can catch the next round of the Australian Performance Cars Championship, brought to you by Donut King. That's happening at Wakefield Park on the 14th and 15th of May, round 2 of the championship there. Now to the hot new sport of drifting, and we're heading to Calder Park in Melbourne for round 1 of the Toyo Tyres Drift Nationals. With all the details, here's Mark Howard.
Thanks, Rusty. Well, drifting is like nothing you've ever seen before on trackside. Basically, it's about thrashing your car, getting it sideways and smoking the tyres. And as a result, the punters absolutely love it.
This is what everyone's been waiting to see. This is a fantastic motorsport. What we do is we slide cars around corners, we get them into oversteer, and then we go through a series of corners sideways the entire time.
Going sideways at 160, 170k an hour is great.
You know, you're in control of something that's on the point of out of control. Come out of the car sometimes just shaking, just like, oh, this is the greatest.
Now, drifting is a totally different form of motorsport, and usually it's the first over the line. Judges are judging on 3 criteria, which is speed, line and angle. It's how fast they can go through a corner, what line they take, and how much speed they can take due to that line, and how much angle they have on the car.
When 2 cars go at the same time, they drift as close as possible to each other. So not only do we have the excitement of a car being sideways, but we have 2 of them right next to each other.
The closer you are, the better it is, really. The more points you score.
It's actually, I reckon, one of the best feelings in motorsport. I mean, we've raced at Bathurst, we've raced at Adelaide 500, but drifting's just where it's at.
So your formative career was trying to escape the police?
Yeah, try to run away from them. Got away a couple of times. Most of the time, actually. I only got caught once.
Nowhere to hide now for Jerome Kennedy as we take a look at the top 16 eliminations. This is a bit like a tennis draw, and we'll give you an idea of how they progress through to the finals. These are the contestants. 50 entrants have come down to 16 here at the Toyo Drift Nationals. Combatants, the first ones to go at it, Darren Muse and Christian Pickering, as we welcome Trav Dunstan to the commentary box.
How you doing, Rusty? We see on the first corner there, Darren Muse in the green S14 spinning out. That's it for the first lap. In the second lap, Darren Muse is leading now as they come into the first corner there. Christian Pickering right up close. Had to make a small correction there, but as he comes up the second corner, he runs with some nice angle. Much better line there. In-car camera showing some nice shots, really close, right up top of the quarter panel, under the Toyo Bridge and through that last corner. And a spin out again.
Muse again, yeah.
And that judges there will be giving that score to Christian Pickering, and we see 19-1 going through easily for that round.
So Christian Pickering advances. We take a look at the next 2, Jared Danaher and Jerome Kennedy. The Nissan 200SX up against another Nissan in the hands of Kennedy, who leads the way, and a real art to this technique of flicking the car and getting it into its drift.
That's right, it's called a feint drift. It's when you drift away from the corner on your first entry and then back in. It's a very popular way of doing it and looks awesome to the crowd.
Jared Danaher in all sorts of trouble here. That's going to be great from a points perspective.
That's right.
For Jerome Kennedy.
Jerome going through with an 8-2 there. Much better entry to turn 1. And we're looking at the second lap, lots of angle from Jerome. Nice and close as he's coming through that first corner. The Rodsky car running a little bit wide through that second corner, and Jerome backing off a little bit there, just taking it easy. As they come underneath the bridge, they really get on the gas, and Jerome brings up the spacing there. Has to make a small correction, but I'd say he'll be going through to the next round.
So hard luck for Jared Danaher as we check the scores, and you're right.
11-9.
Kennedy just advancing to the next round. Mark Marchison and Peter McIntyre are the next 2. A 200SX up against the white 180SX.
All right, here we see Marchison using the handbrake to enter the first corner. McIntyre falling back a little bit and understeering as Marchison comes through the middle S there. He picks up the pace and gets a nice angle through there underneath the Toyo Bridge And McIntyre running wide there. He's going to pick up the dirt. Yes, he will. He's going to lose points there from the line judge. And we'll see how he does in his second lap.
McIntyre actually drove this car all the way down from Sydney, so his weekend getting busy before he even hit the track here at Calder Park. Round 2.
And here we see a much better entry to turn 1 from McIntyre. But and we see Markson come underneath the bridge, running nice and close. Look at that, trying to get an inside line for a passing manoeuvre, and he does so while he's drifting. Judges going to like that, and they put him through 15-5.
Much better run from McIntyre, and blocking the line, as Trav mentioned, under the bridge. Now, Rick Walsh and Andrew Webber, and this is an interesting combination from a car perspective.
That's right, we've got an SS Ute out there, the V8 Thumper. It's the only one in the field. The crowd seems to love this. They get on their feet and give a big cheer as he comes under. It's a much different sound to the little turbo cars, and it's good to see this kind of car going out there.
Just giving it a boot load, and the V8 lights them up onto the straight at Calder Park, and we'll check the scores from the opening battle between these two.
And it looks like Andrew Webber went through with a 7-3, and we go straight to the second lap with the Sylvia leading. As they come through that corner, you see the Sylvia with a lot of angle, but Webber right there on behind him, and holding a very tight line through there, all over the back of him. This is great pressure from Webber as he comes under the Toyo Bridge. Lots of angle from the Sylvia, but running wide, and Webber with a passing manoeuvre right up the inside. That's legal. He was drifting. The judges are like that. The crowd love it. 14-6, Webber goes through.
So Andrew Webber in the popular Ute advances. Now Will Orders, a guy who's had a lot of experience in the Australian Rally Championship, used to getting the car sideways. He's up against an international visitor from New Zealand, Jaris Ferraru.
Well, we call him JT here at Full Lock, and he's an awesome drifter. And we see as he's coming through the second corner there, running a little bit wide. The Subaru Legacy coming up, and look at this, the Subaru Legacy.
Flouts the wall.
Not good there. Didn't get on the counter steer early enough and got some pretty serious damage there.
Take a look here on the net space. High-speed broadband replay. You can see the trouble starting.
He knew it was going to happen. He had all the brakes locked up and just plowed into that wall right next to the Toyo sign. And that's it for his campaign. JT goes through to the next round.
Game over for Will Orders. The likeable driver from Victoria is a spectator, but now another name familiar to the Australian Rally Championship, Tom Monkhouse, whose brother runs in the ARC. And this will be a good battle as well against Michael Truscott.
Michael Truscott, he's in the Sylvia running lead at the moment and getting some beautiful angle there through the last corner. The DR30 driven by the Monk comes through, not quite as much angle, so the judges will be giving that about a 7-3 for that lap, and we'll see how they go on the reverse.
This is a relatively short drift course. What's the most tricky part of it, Trev?
The tricky part is as these cars come underneath the bridge, they are aiming to hold a single drift right through to the last right-hander. A lot of guys put in a fishtail there, but those who can hold a big drift right through, they're given points. The wall is right there. They're always very cautious, but they're rewarded by the judges in the end.
We'll check the scores between these two, and we'll talk more about the techniques involved in this unique sport, which has just captured a lot of the youth, if you like, here in Australia. Very popular in Japan and America as well. Michael Tyler and Bryce Chapman set to do battle. And tell us how they set off the drift, how they get it started. There's a couple of different ways to do it.
That's right. Where a lot of guys use the handbrake to start drifting. Just rip the handbrake as they turn in. Some guys like to feint drift where they clutch kick and get the car sideways under power and then use the handbrake. And some even use a compression lockup, which their mechanics don't like at all. But you got to do what you got to do.
I'll bet the mechanics don't like it. What's critical to a good score in a drift?
Well, we're looking for a big entry to the first corner. It's always the highest speed entry. We're looking for a tight line through the track, and we're looking for these cars drifting as close as possible to each other.
Dramas.
Look out.
For the Nissan. And that means that Mick Tyler will go through 17-3. Hard luck for Bryce Chapman as the Drift Nationals continue. James Vahumis against David Colwell.
Yep, we're seeing James in the D1 garage car and Dave Cole in the Chasers car. These two are excellent drifters as they come through the first corner. Nice and tight there. Going to the in-car camera of James Vahoum, so you can see how he really tightens up through here underneath the bridge. Holds that drift, comes back into correct, and as they come through the last sweep there, he really tightens it up and then closes the gap. Very good run there. The judges will be giving that a 6-4 to Colwell in the Chasers car.
What about the net space on board, right on the rev limit? Now the handbrake to unsettle the car and get it started.
That's right. That's what you got to do when you're sideways. The handbrake just corrects the angle just so you can come into the corner in the perfect angle that you want. On the reverse lap, James is leading there, and you can see the net space in-car camera. It has some beautiful shots, and as they come through that last corner, so close. These guys are awesome at this. And we're going to see a close judging decision here, and I think it's going to be rerun. Yes, that's what's coming through. We're going to rerun these two for another 2 laps. So we see Dave leading again. And
Oh, big one!
very close to hitting the wall there. Dave in the chaser's car just took off the side of the track.
Here's the net space, high-speed internet, broadband replay, and losing some of the bodywork at the front there. Very lucky not to have heavy contact with the wall. That's good for Bahumas.
So on the rerun, Bahumas goes through on a score of 12-8.